Okay, let's look at the last video that I'll be making for Module 8, Developments and Intersections. In this video, we're going to look at CAD Exercise 8.2, the Reducing T. Okay, so let me go inside of this, and then we'll see what's involved here. So this is an intersections problem. And basically what you're going to be finding out is the intersection between two three-dimensional objects. Okay, so I'll explain what that means, but let's just go through the assignment first of all. The 90-degree reducing T is found on page 863. Okay, and what you're going to be drawing first of all is you're going to be drawing and finding the intersection between the two parts. Okay, the vertical tube and the horizontal tube. You're going to construct a front, top, and right side view of that assembly. Okay, now there is an extra credit for this. Depending on the quality of the work you do, you're going to do a development drawing of the vertical tube and the horizontal tube. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about that, but that will probably have to be covered in a separate video. But right now, this video, we're going to focus on the assignment, not the extra credit part, but just the assignment, and that is drawing the line of intersection between these two parts. So what am I talking about when I talk about a line of intersection? Well, here are the two parts. We have the vertical tube, right, and the horizontal tube, right? This is the top view, front view. There's no right side view given. That's something that you'll have to construct. But when we talk about a line of intersection, what we're talking about is the line that exists when we have the horizontal tube intersecting with the vertical tube right here. So there'll be a line where these two go together, and you can see that that part is missing in the drawing in the book, and that's what you have to construct. Okay. So the first thing you got to do is you have to redraw what they've given you in the book, and that's what I have here. Okay, so we have a top view, we have the circular view of the vertical cylinder, and we have a rectangular view of the horizontal cylinder, and all the dimensions are specified here. And then also in the front view, all right. Now, again, like I said before, I kept these views purposely rather close together, just to make the drawing scale look a little bit bigger when I'm working on it. So after you get that done, the next step that you want to do is you need to construct at least part of the right side view. Now, technically speaking, you don't need to construct all the right side view. But since it is part of the assignment, a right side view of the assembly, I'm going to go ahead and construct the whole thing. The end view of the horizontal tube or pipe or cylinder, whatever you want to call it, we can construct that. I'll draw a circle with a center radius, and I'm going to draw it right here, and I'm going to stretch it out right there. All right. So I'm kind of using the geometry that's already there, and then I'll move that over here a bit, making sure, again, I don't want to move it up or down. I'm just moving it directly across, and I'm going to keep it kind of close also for the same reason as before. We can always move it if we need to. All right, so that's the end view of that. And now the rectangular view, the vertical tube. Well, you know, I want to impress upon everybody the idea of reusing geometry that we've already drawn. Okay, so we've already drawn most of the view of the right side of this right here in the front view. So I'm going to copy this. Watch, I'm going to copy, go to the copy command. I'm going to copy this line and one of these lines, okay? And I'm also going to copy this center mark. I don't have to, but I'm going to do that anyway. And then I'm going to move it from the base point here at the intersection to the center right there. All right? And then I can just extend this, use the extend command, and there we're done. Now that's the right side view. right? So again, we're using the geometry that we've already drawn. Yeah, we could draw it again, but you know, that's inefficient, that's slow, and it invites more error, okay? So let me just finish this off by drawing a center line. Let's be, what is that? That's on the center. Let's draw a center line through here. Now, I'm not going to worry about drawing a center line with a center mark command or anything like that, because it's really going to be just this, so it's easy enough just to manipulate it myself. And now we're ready to move on. Okay, so how do we start getting the line of intersection? Well, what you have to understand is what we're trying to draw. We're trying to draw on this surface right here where this edge coincides. And what's interesting to note is that we already have the line of intersection in the top view and in the right side view. We already have that done. How so? Well, it's this edge right here. Right? Here, let me show you. This edge from here to here is the line of intersection in the top view. This outline of the circle in the right side view is the line of intersection. So if we have two views with the line of intersection already created, then to make the third view, all we need to do is project. Okay? So that's really what we're going to be doing. All right. So now let me show you how we're going to do that here. We're going to project a series of points, right? Because we can't, if you haven't already figured out, this is not just going to be a half circle or an ellipse or anything like that. It's much more complicated than that. It's a hyperbola, and it's kind of messy. So we're going to have to plot points to get that done. All right. So watch what we do here. I'm going to draw, and I'm going to actually I'm going to draw a point at every, let's say every 5 degrees. So I'm going to turn 5 degrees on my polar snap-on, and I'm going to draw a line like this. I'm going to draw a line at 5 degrees here. Whoops, I think I missed one. Yep, right there. 5. Right there. Actually, you know what? I think 5 degrees is going to be too much. I'm going to change this to 10 degrees. There's too many lines there. So let's go 10. Right there. So in this space right here, this is 90 degrees. I should have 9 lines, right? I should have 9 angles in there. Obviously, the more angles or the more lines, the more accurate this would be. But trust me, every 10 degrees is plenty accurate enough, as you'll see. Okay, so now I've drawn those over there. Now, I purposely put them in this quadrant right here because this quadrant in the right side view corresponds to this area in the front view, and it corresponds to this area in my top view. Okay, so there's a reason why I did this. Okay, so now watch. This is where we kind of project these across. Now, what I want to do is I want to project this up and over into this view and then down, and we're basically going to create a loop. In order to help us do that, we have to draw something called a miter line. And a miter, M-I-T-E-R, is a line that helps us reflect common edges between the right side view and the top view. Okay? So in order to find my miter line, I need to project 2 points that I know coincide with each other. And that's going to be this point up here and this point over there. So I know that those 2 lines intersect, right? I know that in the top view and the front view, those are the same edges. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line at 45 degrees through those points, Okay, now I want to make sure here, because remember, I don't have 45 degrees on, so I need to, I'm just going to do it by hand. Let's do a line that is too long at an angle of, in this case, it would be 135. That's 90 plus 45 is 135. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to change the colors of these just to make it a little bit easier to see. I'll put these on the, I don't know, I'll put them on the dimension layer like that. Okay. So now I have my miter line done, and actually I don't need this line anymore, and I don't need that line anymore, okay? And now watch what I can do with my miter line. And in fact, I'm also going to, here's one of the things that you'll find out quickly about this assignment is it really, really, really helps to make things different colors, okay? Just to help you see things a little bit clearer, all right? So I'm going to work on the section layer. I'm just choosing layers by color, right? Because we're not going to see all this when we're done with our drawing. We'll freeze all this or erase it or turn it off. All right, so now watch how this works. We're going to go to the line command, okay? And we're going to draw a line from the top of this first point, right there at the 10-degree angle, and I'm going to go straight up, okay, right to there. Now I'm going to go straight across. And where should that end? Well, exactly where it ends in the right side view. That is to say right there. Okay, so you see what I've done? I've connected the same point in two adjacent views. So I have this point in my right side view exactly corresponds with that point in my top view. And I've drawn a line connecting those just to help me find it. So I started here at 10-degree increments. What is this angle? Now, if you're thinking, well, why'd you do that? Why couldn't you just draw this at 10 degrees? Well, because it's not 10 degrees, right? If we look at that and measure it, right, it's 8. It's actually not even 8. Watch, it's actually some remainder 8 with a bunch of decimal places. Oh, here, let me do units. I got to turn my units on. I have my angle set to 0 decimal places. So let's turn it on to 8 decimal places. All right, so now we go to angle and we come up here and look at that. So the angle is 7.9852717 degrees, and it probably goes on more, well, not probably, it does go on more than that. So you can see that I wasn't just creating a line connecting a 10-degree angle up here with a 10-degree angle down here. That's why we need to do that, okay? So I don't need that up there, so let's get rid of that. All right, so now what do? I start here, I draw a line up, hit the miter line, come over, hit this line, and now I'm going to go straight down. How far? Well, I don't know, all right? I don't know, but I can find it by going and completing the curve. Now here you have to be careful. Notice how close this is to the yellow lines. All right. So that is our first point. Actually, to be honest with you, that's our second point. Our first point is here. That's where the line of intersection is going to start. Our second point in the line of intersection is right here. All right. So before we start work on our line of intersection, we have to finish this. All right, so let me just work real quick. It's all going to be the same. And you can get a rhythm going. You just got to be careful with your object snaps. That's the biggest problem is, accidentally connecting to the wrong line. That's kind of why different colors are very important. And just inspecting your work every once in a while and making sure that that everything looks like it's going right. And trimming off as you go. Trimming as you go is definitely better than getting a mass of lines and not knowing what the heck is going on and having to unbury yourself. Now you'll notice that the distance between each point seems to be growing. Right, and that's correct. That's a good thing. That's what we want to see. It's going to be subtly growing. We want to make sure that One tip I can make, if you're having trouble with this, is to turn on ortho, right? Ortho mode right down there on the status bar, ortho mode. What ortho mode does is it restricts you to drawing only vertical and horizontal lines. So I'll turn on ortho so you can see. So we go up here and see now I can only draw vertical, and you know, it's snapping right there. I really don't want it to snap there. So I'm going to turn off, this is where it's kind of a pain. I'm going to turn off endpoint, and we'll go right. Yeah, see, it's not getting me that right there. So, let's see. Intersection, I don't need quadrant on. I don't need center on. Apparent intersection, I think that might be the key that I want right there. No? Well. See, now this is a problem. Yeah, okay, so this is kind of this makes it a little bit more difficult here, because what I'm missing is these object snap tracking, right? So right there, I want to stop right there. Now I could just go on like this and come through here and go like that, but it kind of makes it a little bit more work. But I'll continue on just so you can see how that works. Now I do want to turn on perpendicular. I think I've messed around with this enough so that, there we go. All right, and I can trim all this. Remember, trim as you go is what I suggest. I'll leave that one up there. That's not a big deal. And I got 2 more to do. Actually, 3 more to do. I lied. We'll go like that. We'll go across here. Now, what you'll notice is, at this point, the lines are going to get a lot steeper. Or the points, I should say. All right, and a couple more. We'll go straight up. So you just got to watch. Now here, we really need to zoom in. So I'll go right there. And we'll go down like this. We'll come across here. Let's get rid of that little bit right there. So we have nice, clean intersections. And then the last one, we don't really need to trace it out from here, because it would be this point right here, up, over, and it's going to correspond to that point right there. And now we can come straight down, and it's going to end right there. Okay, so you see what we've gotten now. We've projected all these points across, and we have the stair step kind of look, staircase kind of look. That is our line of intersection, or more precisely, that is half of our line of intersection. So now we need to figure out how we're going to draw that kind of a curve, because we can't use a circle, we can't use an ellipse. What we're going to use is a polyline, okay? So the polyline command is right there in between line and circle. And we're going to go like this, okay? We're going to go polyline, and let's just zoom in here. And we're going to go from this first corner right there, and we're just going to go through each corner. I should have done this on the visible layer, but I'll change that when I'm done with this right there. Okay, so there's our polyline. I'm going to put this back on the visible layer where it belongs. Okay. Now you can see it looks like it's kind of curved, but you know when you zoom in, it's not really. It's just a series of lines that are, you know, made to look like they curve, or they end up looking like they curve. So at this point, we can get rid of all this stuff, and I'm just going to freeze it, right? Because I might, if I find a mistake, I might want to see that again. So I'm just going to freeze it. Whoops, this is my current layer, so I can't freeze it. So let's change it to the visible layer, and now let's freeze it. There we go. Okay. So now, how do we get the rest of it? All right, well, it's very simple. We just mirror it, right? So we go to mirror, and you pick this line right here. And then first point of the mirror line, you can use this point as the first point, and any point horizontal to that will be the second mirror point. There we go. Erase object. No. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to curve this. But before we curve it, we have to join them together. Okay, so now watch this. We're going to go from the polyline command to the command that we use to edit the polyline, and that is polyline edit, which is that one right there, edit polyline, or we can just type in p-edit, P-I-D-E-T, p-edit. There we go. And it says select polyline. I'm going to pick that polyline, and I'm going to join it with this polyline. I'll pick the first one to start. There we go. And now we've joined them together. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do a fit curve. Okay, now you'll see there's two curves right there. There's a fit curve and there's a spline fit curve. A fit curve is a curve that goes through each one of the points that we selected. Now that's important because the points that we drew this with are exactly on the line of intersection. A spline fit will not go through the points. It will use the points as weighting factors, W-E-I-G-H-T-I-N-G, weighting factors or influencers to make the curve. So we do not want a spline fit. We want a fit curve right there, boom, and then we can hit enter, not close. Close will close the shape. It's very confusing. And we hit enter, and then there we go. And you can see it's become less faceted. There's no more straight edges, and it is, in fact, one object. And there we go. And there is our line of intersection. And so the solution to the first part of the assignment, actually not the first part of the assignment, the solution to the assignment without getting into the extra credit is exactly this. Now, I'll pretty this up for you so you can see. I can get rid of my... I'll freeze that in case I need it later. So we can pretty this up. We need to extend these. So I'm going to use the lengthen command, delta 0.09, and we'll project those out like that, right? Because they need to be extended 0.09. Right? You lose points if you don't have those like that. And then we go to the B-size sheet. And we double click in here. We do zoom extents. We're not dimensioning this, so we're just going to come in here and we'll set this at, will 1-to-1 fit? Nah, 1-to-1, boy, that's a little bit small. Can we get 2-to-1? Hey, what do you know? We can get 2-to-1. I can move this in a little bit more. Just a smidge right there. And there we go. So there is your solution to CAD exercise 8.2, the reducing T. All right. In the next videos, I will talk about creating the development of the vertical tube. That's this one right here, and the horizontal tube. Although I'm not going to necessarily do the whole solution for you. These are a lot of work. Okay, that's why the extra credit points are so much. 5 extra credit points for this, but I'll do that in a separate video. Okay, so I'll see you then.